And we're live, reporting live from the airport. We have finished the Wulong Mountain Quest. Day 4 was yesterday. We're at the airport waiting to board the plane. We've just had some lunch and probably a bit of a time for a debrief. So we had 2 teams across the last 4 days and Kieran, do you want to kick off by talking us through your day yesterday?
Yesterday day 4, last day. We started off with a stage 1 run, which is about 8k, with a cave section about 4k into it.
Hot.
Very hot, yeah. And
up, very steep.
Yeah, and we'd sort of based on a 10-hour day. It was about 40 degrees, so we sort of took it easy for that first stage and got into the caves, and we sort of got held up for about 15 minutes. And then when we got...
We were leading one person at a time up this one particular section with a bit of a rope to hang on to, weren't they?
Yeah, and because in hindsight we should have pushed it a lot harder then and got in front of the teams, but I was blowing a bit too myself. So
if you had to push harder, would you had to have a lie down? What sort of level were you at? Or you?
Probably just overheating more than anything. So getting a vest off and getting the bladders off and that. But the rest of the team were strong as. So Todd had me on toe. So helpful of that. But
nude, would that help next time?
Nude, definitely. Maybe with a fanny pack.
Well, I guess it depends on. I guess as long as the toe line's long enough, I guess.
So back into the cave. We got out and we didn't know that there was a shut-off time. Well, we did know, but we didn't know what time it was. So on our...
And you don't know the terrain before you go into it either. That's the other thing, isn't it? Like, even if you knew the cut-off time, is that going to be tight for us? Is we going to be good for that? Like, you don't know until you're actually in it, do you?
No, but it's a shame we weren't aware of that. It was our own fault. Like pre-race, we should have done our homework a bit more thoroughly there. But on
the other hand, like you guys sailed through the previous 3 days, so you sort of become, I don't know, it was kind of fine the previous 3 days. So was the 4th day going to be any different?
Yeah, and I think the officials probably got it wrong, the timing, because they said the fastest time was going to be 45 minutes, and I think it was about Top Sport and them were about 20 minutes after that, so an hour 6 or something. So, we got to the top and we got a DNF because we're over the time limit. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but real gutting. We're pretty pissed, but
there was a few other teams that got pulled out as well.
Yeah, I think 10 or 15, so So it's just a mess start, and then the cave sort of had a bottleneck, and and it was 900 metres of vert, so.
So what happened next, Nat? What were you guys, so you were pulled out, and then tell us about the sort of, what happened next?
It just took a little bit to sink in. So we're all sitting around on the floor waiting for the buses to take us back to base, and Grandma from the little farm next door brings out seats for us all and kind of demands that we sit on the seats. Like, it was a very cute thing. And then Grandad brings over this big basket of walnuts for us to sit and crack on the floor. And then we're still waiting for the bus and chatting with the other teams that had finished. And Grandma then kind of invites us over to the farmhouse, and they're all shucking corn for the pigs that live under their house. So it's a cool experience to see like what goes on in rural China. Yeah. And then we're invited upstairs, and they want to cook us chicken soup or some kind of chicken thing for dinner. But the chickens are still at this point squawking around in the farmyard. So
how many chickens are there?
Well, 2 came out from nowhere, and they were quickly gathered up and then throat slit and put into a bucket of water, and the kettle poured straight on top of them. So parboiled chickens in a bucket, and then the bus turns up, and we had the option of getting on the bus or staying for dinner. So we figured it's probably actually best that we leave and clean bikes and sort everything out. The chickens then come with us in a plastic bag because one of the other Chinese teams, one of the guys who'd actually cut the necks of the chickens, takes them in a plastic bag on the bus. So then we're sniffing part cooked chicken for an hour and a half or something.
Around some windy roads.
Around a lot of windy roads, coming down the, 800 metres of vert that we just climbed. yeah, it was an interesting ride.
Yeah, that's right. So what did you guys do for the rest of the day? What happened then for you guys?
Yeah, let things sink in. Had good team chats about what happened, and it was just a mission to gather up kits, clean bikes, find all our kit, because like the start finish box, we didn't know where it had gone. It had obviously gone to the finish, and we were now back at the hotel. Cleaned a few bikes, and just chilled.
Yeah, that's right. Sarah, you're not in the camera shot at the moment, but you are going to shimmy this way a little bit. Do you want to talk us through the start of our day, how that went?
I think the start actually went all right for us. We were ahead a few teams of the race that we hadn't previously been, so I think that went pretty well the first round.
I think I'll claim that actually, because we were you guys were all ahead of me, and there was a bit of a slope that I ran up and got past a whole bunch of teams, and pretty much went just fast enough that they didn't pass us, but slow enough that held everybody up pretty much, which got us into the caves all right. And then the caves was a chance to kind of catch your breath a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, we all had a bit of a pee stop and catch our breath, and it was a good chance to regroup and get going again. Yeah.
You know, I went up as slow up that hill as I could to slow everybody else down, and then once we got to the top and you guys were with me, we're away again.
Yeah, it was pretty good strategy there. So yeah.
Nice. And you crashed your bike. When was that now? Is it day 2 or day 3?
That was day 3. So fortunate enough to have the 2 guys in our team take my bike to the bike shop, and they were actually closed, but we managed to get the number of the bike store owner, and he came back down on his scooter and met the guys there, and new derailleur and jockey wheels, and good to go again.
So you're back on the bike. How were you feeling on the bike day after sort of quite a significant crash?
A little bit nervous, but it was good to have it done.
And you rode well. There was quite a lot of teams around us as well, which kind of made it tricky on some of those windy descents.
Yeah, I just sort of feel like I couldn't really push too much. I didn't feel that confident to, speed past too many of those teams, but it just is what it is.
It was just getting down in one piece, wasn't it? Nice work. And then we're biking, then went to a rafting stage. Jesse, do you want to tell us about the rafting?
So I was actually down a river with a bit of current this time, so we went on a flat irrigation dam, which made it a heck of a lot nicer. You had that water helping you out. Passed a few teams on there, got passed by one team, another Kiwi team, but definitely I think we made up 3 spots on there, and then off onto a run.
Some good lines down the rafting, which was good, and even a wee bit of splash in the boat around some of the corners too. We were sinking again though, which but it was short enough that it was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We took on a bit of water in a couple of wave trains there that probably should have been attacked forwards, not sideways. But we got down there, the raft stayed afloat and up the right way, so that was the main thing.
Temperature was starting to get up after that, didn't it? Hotter and hotter and hotter. Steve, how were you feeling after the rafting section?
I got through my flask and I went to go into my bladder and it wasn't working because the pipe wasn't quite well in, so I was a little dehydrated coming towards the end of that. But thankfully Sarah gave me a little bit of her flask, which got me through to the end.
I think Sarah got a bit bossy there, didn't you, Sarah?
Sorry, Steve.
But that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like, get these in you, drink it up, drink the whole thing.
Yeah, and that was good because that you dragged my ass up the next hill as well, so I needed you to be good for that.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, no, it was good to be able to tell you and, put my bit in for the team.
That's right. What was the watermelon like, Sarah?
It was good. It was good, refreshing wee treat. Yep. Yeah, happy to see that.
Does anyone have any idea how long that run/walk took us? An hour and 50 minutes. Yep. How were you going there, Jesse?
Not too bad. Definitely, every chance I had to get some water on board and water over you, took that because, it definitely was hot.
I was a bit worried about, would they actually stop the kayak because it was 1,000 million degrees, it felt like. But once we got on the boat, it wasn't actually that bad. Would you agree with that, Sarah?
I think for the first 5Ks I was pretty hot, but a couple of splashes of the kayak, the water from the river, and eventually I came right again. So, yeah.
You would splash the water on yourself. You used to stop for a moment, splash it, and do you want to splash? It's like, oh no, it's all right. And then the next 2 or 3 times you did it, I was like, please give me a splash as well. Not wanting to ask, but it did make a difference, didn't it? And then we got to end of the first stage of the kayak, and then we got stopped. What happened there, Steve?
Yeah, they didn't have any cradles there left for us, so we had to stop and wait for them to come back so we could do our little run. So that was actually quite painful for Jesse and I, because we both had really sore stomachs, so it fitted in really well. So we were able to get some water in and settle the tummies down. So
It was good. Like, we had 30 minutes before that portage, before we had to go again. How were you feeling there, Jesse? There was was it 5 trips to the toilet? There was a few there, wasn't it? It was a bit ugly.
Yeah, it certainly was. If we didn't have to wait for the carts, I'd see the kayak would have turned into a pretty shitty experience.
I think for that comment we'll just move on. And then we're into the river, which is like, it was a big river, isn't it? Like the Clutha times 10 type thing, isn't it? It's a big volume river. How were you? Last year, you and Sarah got quite hot and decided to have a swim towards the end of it. How were you feeling going into this one?
Yeah, definitely. Last year I think probably jumped on the river and didn't think much of it, but yeah, from looking at it from 40 metres up from a bridge versus being on it, the waves and eddies and boils are actually very powerful. So yeah, certainly was pretty focused on finding some good lines, and had one big brace stroke early on which kept us upright, so I was pretty happy about that. And then the rapid that we swam in last year was well negotiated, I think.
Was it a little bit different to last year? Didn't feel like it was as big, like a bigger tongue coming into it, the same?
Yeah, I think the river level was lower, so might have made that one easier, and then further up a few better lines, or that changed what was happening further up the river.
Nice. And Sarah, how would you feel the paddle went this time around?
A lot better, I think. We sort of paced it probably a bit better than last year too, maybe. We didn't go so hot out of the gate, and nice, easy, steady strokes, and yep.
And without a rudder on the boats, there's probably two things there. First of all, in the river, you kind of have to be a bit more directed around making sure you're actually in the right place. But then the other thing I found was it's actually really good, because the rubbish that was in the reservoir, like, you weren't getting it caught on the rudder, so you just kind of keep cruising on. How are you feeling towards the end of the paddle?
No, I was feeling pretty good by that stage. Yeah, no, I'd taken on plenty of water and nutrition, so yeah, that was all good.
And Steve, you had an abseil to do. How was that?
yeah, I had a bit of a mare there. I was feeling pretty cooked after the kayak, so I ended up getting the guy. He ended up doing it for me to put the ropes through. So yeah, it was a bit of a mission, but once we got onto the abseil, yeah, it was fine. Yeah, we made our way down, and yeah, the ATC was pretty hot by the time we got to the bottom, but we managed to get it out all right.
And that's okay to let him get it sorted for you, because it's actually a really long way up and you want to make sure you get that right. So well done for doing that. And Jesse, how was the final sprint to home, the abseil and then the finish it off?
Yeah, it was good. It was pretty happy to get on that abseil again. It's pretty cool looking down at you guys doing yours at 40 metres and then jumping on after you, and off we go. And then sprint up a few stairs and a couple more stairs and then through the finish line, and job done.
Yeah. When did you think, Sarah, that actually, because it was a long day, that actually I think we're going to get this done now? When were you starting to sort of think about the finish line?
I think once we'd got that portage done, I knew we were going to make the finish line. Yeah.
It was a good feeling, wasn't it? Just think about that. Nice work. And on reflection, how do you feel like your, 4 days have been?
It's been very mixed, I think. A few emotions, and obviously with the crash, I just sort of, you sort of feel pretty gutted that happens, and then in hindsight, you sort of feel pretty relieved that you came away pretty well off, and
That's right.
yeah, so pretty thankful for my teammates as well for, just getting me through too. So yeah.
And that's a part of team racing, like the four of us, all that terrain, all the different weather and things that could go wrong. I can't believe that you basically must have done a full flip and covered the whole road and landed in the ditch, and you've only really got a little bit of skin off, a big ding on your thigh, but and your bike derailleur was a bit busted, but that's a sort of race-ending situation that you managed to kind of survive.
Yeah, I think I thought when that happened that I was going to break a bone or something, or that this was game over, and I didn't expect that we'd managed to get the bike fixed either, so yeah. Pretty stoked.
I expected to see you in bits. So yeah, that's right, ups and downs, but yeah, there's obviously positives with that as well. Meg, you had a what, 2 weeks lead in? 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah, there's 13 days, I think.
10 days, it's the 12 sleeps or something like that. How's your experience been? Tell us about your sort of China experience, I guess.
It's been awesome. I think from this landing here, everyone's looked after us really, really well, and it was we had a few lost in translation moments, but I think regardless of that, the intention was always really, really good. And yeah, just want to appreciate all of the work that you guys have all done to get us here, because I didn't do much of the pre bit of that. But also everyone that goes in behind the scenes in Wulong. I thought it was done really, really well. For me, the biggest learning was heat. I had a bit of a crash on day 2, and for me it was just not enough fluid going in. And once I got my head around that, I felt like it was, I was fine again. But I was kind of in the self-doubt, I'm not fast enough, I'm not da-da-da. But actually it was just a fluid thing.
You can't actually get enough in, really, can you? It's almost how much can you cope with?
Yeah, definitely. But I think it was just that it took me to get to that point to go, I need way more fluid going in.
And how did you go after that?
I was pretty stoked to manage to get going again. I thought there was a minute there where I was like...
You threw up. It wasn't pretty for a bit there.
Yeah, no, and did throw up a couple of times, and I was like, man, am I going to... what's the choice, what's the options here with a really sort of cloudy head? But yeah, I think it was actually, in the interview with you just before we came here, what was your mate's name that was interviewing alongside on Craterim? Your friend, what's his name? He had a hat on in the interview, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Grant, yeah.
Grant, there we are. He said, it's the experience of being in the middle of a race and totally flatlining, and then knowing you'll come out of it. And I think that just triggered in my head. I was like, I'm going to come out of this. I just need to push through this moment. And being able to jump on tow for a bit with Todd, which was great, and then grab some poles off Nat for a bit was really, really good. So it was, and gave my layers to them as well. So again, cooling the body was super helpful. So trusting the process of, this isn't it for the whole race. It's actually, it'll just take a minute to get through it. Yeah.
And key learnings to take away?
It's really hot here. And so just management strategies around that. The last day, having a hip belt as opposed to a pack. And when I could, taking my helmet off and even just taking my bib off and then putting it back on because it would be cool after a while. That for me was massive. I felt my heart rate was 20, 30 beats per minute lower. Just cool, being cooler. Yeah.
Just not panting so much. I was puffing so much, you can sort of a bit more under control.
Yeah, totally. And it was awesome. I'd come back.
Yeah, good job. Look at that. That's the result. Todd, I haven't talked to you yet. You're sort of way over in the corner there. Tell us about your China experience. What was sort of a couple of your, biggest challenges and then highlights?
Well, they don't call it adventure racing for nothing. It was definitely an adventure. Probably, I guess like everybody said, the heat was challenging, although probably not quite as hot as I was expecting. I was sort of expecting to be melting all day, every day, but I actually didn't find it too bad.
Well, there was one day we actually had rain, torrential rain, didn't we? It was almost cold for a moment there.
Did actually get cold there for a bit, yesterday the heat was pretty brutal and we weren't even out there for 2 hours, so, there were some pretty scorched bodies coming back to the hotel at the end of the day, that's for sure. With layers yesterday, I struggled there a bit too. I thought, with the heat, I've got a little bit burnt the first 3 days, so I started off with a shirt underneath my run vest and just had to take it off and wring the sweat out of it and put it in my pack after not even 40 minutes. So,
I'll just tell you, there's one thing we haven't shared, and I'm not sure we should share any visuals of it, but last year I had my cycle top on, but unzipped all the way down, but then there was another layer, so I actually, before we come out, basically chopped from sort of mid-chest down off, and then basically just sort of had this boob tube sort of situation, which was really just my shoulders. The kids weren't particularly happy with me wearing it around home, and I did off it around. I did bring another top that I could have chopped up, but no one took that on board. So my little innovation, but meant that the sunburn didn't get quite so bad. Does that mean that you might take that on for next year? I could lend it out to you, Todd.
yeah, yeah, definitely something to consider. Yeah, it's a maybe. Yeah, I guess that's the sort of thing that comes with experience, and you learn a lot from doing this sort of thing the first time. Yeah, so for my first adventure race, yeah, it's been a pretty big learning curve. I think I've managed most of it pretty well, but definitely a few tricks and tricks of the trade and strategies around what gear to have at each transition and that sort of thing, what you need and what you don't need, and where you can save time, that sort of thing.
To wrap it up, I'm going to ask everyone, what's your biggest challenge and what was your highlight of the last little bit? Who wants to start with that? The biggest challenge, the toughest bit, and then the highlight. Todd, do you want to kick us off?
Biggest challenge probably just the work rate, and highlights probably the team morale. Certainly end of day 3 we had a pretty good day overall, and we're looking forward to day 4. Unfortunately didn't work out the way we wanted to, but pretty good up to that point at least.
Yeah, that's right. Sharing with some good people, that's the best part of it, isn't it? It's awesome. What about you, Steve? The challenge and then your highlight?
Yeah, the biggest challenge for me would have been the kayaking for me, I think. I'm quite new to the kayaking. I didn't have the foot pedals quite right for that first section of the kayak, so I was really struggling there on that first part, but adjusted them for the second part, which made it a lot better. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of fatigue there going into that kayak. But my highlight of the trip was definitely probably the caving, just getting in there and doing some abseiling, going around in all the water holes, and it's something different that I haven't done before, so that was real cool.
Yeah, but absolutely epic, isn't it? Crazy place to go and be able to explore.
Oh, 100%. It's like, I've been to China twice before, but that's only in the cities, and I never knew this sort of things were in China. Just amazing views that you get to see that a lot of people haven't been able to see.
Yeah, nice. Well done, Steve. What about you, Jesse?
Challenge probably adjusting from starting work at a temperature -5 and coming over to racing temperatures up to 40 above, so that'd be the biggest challenge. And then highlight, just coming over here, it's such an awesome event, and 4-day 4-stage race. I certainly enjoy them.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Nat?
Probably getting a challenge was probably getting the team to the start line in the first place with the change of teammates, but I think that probably became a highlight, and that we were the only team with 2 females, and I think a lot of the Chinese love that. And we loved it too. Like 80% of the time we were kicking it for ourselves, and we just worked amazingly well as a team together, and maybe come back with an all-female team at some point.
Yeah. Well, I think it's got to be mixed, doesn't it? So
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Todd, you with us?
Oh, Kieran, that's all right. Oh, he's been cut from the squad. Oh, that's tough. That's his biggest challenge. He's going to talk about that in about 30 seconds. Let's.
I just thrown you under the bus.
Look, team morale's just dipped. Highlight, Nat? Highlight?
Oh, well, racing with my best buddy, and 2 girls and 2 guys. I think that was an awesome combo.
Kieran, should we come back to you? Or? No, we'll go on. Come on. What's your highlight, biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge would be the heat, and I just found, especially running, I just found it very challenging. Yeah, but highlights, man, just amazing. Yeah, probably the caving was, I reckon, the top draw.
Yep.
But team morale, just the whole trip. All you eight in the team, really. It's wicked, yeah. And thanks Team CP, top draw.
Well done, Kieran. What about you, Meg?
Challenge was probably the dark moment on the second day. But also that was probably a highlight in terms of it's a team sport. So getting that support from the team. The highlight for me had to be the cave. It was just epic in there, incredible and fun, and good banter with the people in there, and really enjoyed that.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Sarah?
Maybe the challenge for me was just getting over that crash on day 3.
Yeah.
It was sort of a bit emotional, and so we got through it. Had a few tears on the bus, and then got to the hotel and I was like, right, okay, new day, yeah, but
Because it's out of control, and you're not planning for that, and you do try and, I guess, be tough and be strong, but it's just something that comes out of nowhere, doesn't it?
yeah, and it's not only just feeling like you let yourself down, but you feel like you're letting the team down by, creating such a, I don't know, disruption to the race, and we don't know what's going to happen the next day, or how I'm going to be, or how the bike's going to be, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was. Yeah.
But it almost creates a highlight, because I think there's been lots of chats about how Hard as Nails award, that you've picked up that Hard as Nails award, and also the guys organising to get the bike fixed as well, all those things, through to Tash on the phone to try and patch you up as well, all those little bits.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that that was a highlight for me, is just feeling like the whole team really supported me through it all. Jesse had me on the toe from day one. Even when I probably didn't even need it some of the times, but it was just about managing that, and it really felt like we did work well as a team, and yeah.
What about a highlight for your race?
Well, that was the highlight.
The team. Yeah, good. No, that's awesome. I'd say that, I reiterate exactly what you guys have said, is actually just the team, and be able to share this with all you guys. That would be my sort of key highlight as well. My biggest challenge, similar actually, is just like I was crook, like on Sunday, lying in bed, not sure if I was even going to be able to come, and some of those climbs I've just out. I just had nothing on some of those climbs, but having Steve tow my ass up the hill made a big difference, and just that teamwork was pretty cool. So kind of job done. Any last comments to share? Will you be back next year? What's that? I asked Todd that question. Actually, I've got one more question for you, Jesse. We come here last year to look for a panda. Didn't technically find one. This year, have you found a panda?
A couple of soft toy pandas.
We did a bit of research yesterday, talked to some locals about pandas. Turns out they're not actually even in this area.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to find a different race to come to. A little bit more, I think, was it to the east that we need to go?
East and mountainous or something. And you wanted west. We'll have to work on those details. But you were trying to figure out whether pandas are cuddly. Could you cuddle one? What was the sort of consensus there?
So the locals said that you could cuddle one, but it would probably bite you.
So kind of aggressive. I guess, are you still willing to test that theory?
No, I think we'll just leave it there.
Move on. So with that said, I think we'll wrap it up here. Well done, team, and over and out.